Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm Elisabetta, an Italian watercolor artist with a passion and a curiosity for art supplies. Today I'm swatching and comparing my different burnt siennas and my light browns. So it's going to be a nice video. I'm very happy about it because burnt sienna is by far one of my favorite colors. Let's start swatching and let's dive in. First of all, we must say that there are two different schools of thought about burnt sienna. Some brands use PBr7, which is natural iron oxide for burnt sienna, and it's more brownish hazelnut result, whereas other brands, very prestigious and respected brands like Winsor Newton or Rosa Gallery, use PR101, which is red iron oxide. And we're going to swatch other light browns to complete our video. Let's start with the first paint, which is Burnt Sienna by Lukas. This is like the following. PBr7. I'm taking it from my collection of 48 half pans that I have swatched in my previous video. Actually, it was my first video on this channel. So, and you know that Lukas is a brand that I like very much. It's very easy to re-wet, and it has a reputation for being a bit chalky or opaque, but I think it's pretty elegant. I like it very much. Look at how transparent it is, and it's very granulating. Look at the beautiful granulation. I want to add some more imaston, and it's a lovely hazelnut brown, very warm. Okay, let's go now to White Nights. Okay, here I have opened a new tube of White Nights, and this is the tube of White Nights Burnt Sienna, using always a PBr7. I have squeezed it in a half pans for future use, because burnt sienna is one of the colors that I use the most, so it always finishes very, very rapidly in my palette. Maybe I should use a bigger brush. The flow on paper is not as good as Lukas maybe, but the color is very nice. I don't see a big difference between these two. Here we are. This is White Nights. Daniel Smith is a hand poured. You see the difference with the, you see it's flat, and the Lukas one is extruded. You see it is curved on top. This is extruded, and Daniel Smith is hand poured. I usually prefer hand poured colors. They're easier to re-wet. Let's see how it re-wets very easily. And wow, Daniel Smith is a recent discovery for me, because here in Italy it's not so easy to find, but incredibly pigmented, extraordinary flow on paper, and the color is very nice. will put some more mast tone here, just to see the difference between mast tone and watered down. And you see immediately the difference. These two are more orangey, and this is more hazelnut, the Daniel Smith. Those are warmer, but this is more pigmented, the Daniel Smith. But it's difficult to say when they're wet. We should wait that they dry, for them to dry. Now Paul Rubens. I have poured my tubes in this small travel set, and I'm usually quite happy with my Paul Rubens. Very nice flow on paper, and very nice value range between mast tone and watered down. I'm always happy with my Paul Rubens. Very good price point for the quality. They're definitely artist quality. And here it is, particularly lovely, this Burnt Sienna by Paul Rubens. And now I have my last PBr7, which is this color. I have never tried, it's brand new, it's Brown Ochre by Winsor Newton. And it is my last PBr7. I'll take some directly from the tube. It's maybe too much water. Okay, this is not the Burnt Sienna, but as it is a light brown, I wanted to include it. And it is a lovely light brown, same pigment, PBr7, but it's more yellowish than the previous PBr7. It's more yellowish, but it's very delicate, very transparent, very nice. This pigment PBr7 is very versatile. You can have burnt umber or burnt sienna. It depends on the treatment. So this is this Brown Ochre. I'm very happy of this purchase. Very nice. Let's go now to Winsor Newton Professional. It's the first burnt sienna that I'm swatching with the PR101, and it is the burnt sienna that I currently have in my palette, in my go-to palette. You see, it's almost finished. I want to buy it again because it's very nice. Take some, and you immediately see the difference. You see the red iron oxide coming out. It's much more orangey compared to the other burnt siennas that I have swatched so far. Nice flow on paper. It's a transparent version of this pigment PR101. I put more. This is the one that I usually have, but I would like to have two versions in my palette. One made with the PR101, like this Winsor Newton, which is very beautiful, and I want to buy it again because it's almost finished. And the version made with the PBr7, because I really love these more brownish, light brown versions with PBr7. I think that I need the two in my palette because they are different. Now, I go to one of my favorite versions, and it is Burnt Sienna by Rosa Gallery. See, Rosa Gallery has this beautiful set from Ukraine. It's an extraordinary paint, and I suggest you to try it if you haven't, very good price point and incredibly beautiful colors. And this is also made with PR101, and you see this is very orangey, very similar to the Winsor & Newton. Maybe I will buy a tube of Rosa Gallery instead of buying Winsor & Newton, because the price point is very interesting and the quality is very good. I wouldn't say that this is less pigmented than the Winsor & Newton. And I would be happy to support Ukraine with the purchase, so why not? Then I will try this Schminke Burnt Sienna, and this has a different formula. This is made with PR101, just like these two, but with a touch of black. I forgot to put the number here, but it's PBK9. So there is a touch of black. I don't really see the black, but there must be. It's very pigmented. I've put just a small, minuscule touch, and look at how pigmented it is. So maybe I can keep this as an orangey burnt sienna, because and wait to buy the burnt sienna by Winsor & Newton or Rosa Gallery, because this is a gigantic tube and it is the same orangey version that I wanted to buy. So maybe I have put more color, but it's very nice burnt sienna. Very warm and very orangey, very transparent. Okay, this is incredibly pigmented by Schminke, like all the Schminke products. Now I'm swatching the light brown, which is Brown Ochre by Daniel Smith, also called Goethite, after the German poet Goethe. So he mentioned this color, and this is also brown ochre, but actually it's a yellow. It's called the brown ochre, but it's a yellow. I wanted to put it here because we have this brown ochre by Winsor & Newton, so I wanted to compare the two. This is definitely a yellow transparent oxide. It's made with PY43, which is yellow ochre. And it shares the same name of this brown ochre by Winsor & Newton, but it's completely different. It's a nice color, and you can probably use it very nicely in landscapes, or still lifes for fruit, pears, apples, but doesn't really fit in this collection. Then I have Spinell Brown by Schminke. This is another yellow pigment, PY19, but to me it's a light brown and it fits in this collection. I know that Winsor & Newton also has a very lovely version of this pigment PY19, and it's a bit duller. It's not really burnt sienna, but it's quite opaque. But it's a lovely light brown to have in a palette. I like it. I have used it for sketching my dog, which is a golden retriever, and it's a perfect color for a cocker spaniel or a golden retriever. And then at the very last minute, I have added Red Ochre by White Knight. This is done with PR102, and it's not an English red. I use it as a burnt sienna. It is in my White Knight's full pans palette. I don't have a burnt sienna here, so I use this red ochre instead, and it's made with PR102, which is a natural version of PR101. So you see it's very comparable to the burnt siennas made with the PR101. So White Knights has a burnt sienna made with PBr7, this one, but basically they also have another version of burnt sienna, and they call it red ochre, made with PR102, which is natural red iron oxide, whereas PR101 is the synthetic version of red iron oxide. And it's a lovely color. I use it a lot. So now we let this dry, and maybe we do some mixes with these colors to see what can we get when we mix this color. So now we start from Indian yellow, and we will mix it with the PBr7 and the PR101. The PBr7 I have chosen Lukas, and as a PR101 I have chosen Rosa Gallery. So as a mixing color, I will use as usual, my Paul Rubens palette, and I will use this Indian yellow. Let's start with Indian yellow. This is Indian yellow, and I will mix it as usual directly on paper. Burnt sienna, okay, I will add a little more, maybe Indian yellow in the middle here, in the center. And I think that we obtain a lovely hue of, looks like quinacridone gold. It's lovely. I will add a little more of this burnt sienna, and I will mix it on paper like this. Okay, we let this dry. This is absolutely lovely. If you don't have quinacridone gold, you can always try this mix, PBr7, burnt sienna, and Indian yellow. We continue with Lukas, and I will mix it with Madder Red. Madder Red, it's a cool red. It's a typical replacement, more line fast than alizarin crimson. And let's put some Madder Red on paper. Okay. I'm not sure how interesting this is, but I was just curious to mix it with any primary color that I have. And we get a sort of brick brown. Now it's mixed. Okay, you see it's a lovely brick brown, and there is an incredibly nice color separation. Look at this. You see yellow coming out, and from Burnt Sienna, I don't know where this yellow comes out, and the peach. It's almost a dark peach. It's very, very nice. Now we go to ultramarine blue. I have not filmed the gray, sorry, but this is it's not sap green, it's a tree green, and you immediately get a very nice muted green. I will add some green because the Lukas Burnt Sienna is so pigmented that it tends to overpower a little the green. This is a very delicate green. But you get a lovely muted olive green. Look at this. Very nice value range, lovely color separation, lovely granulation. Let's go to emerald green. Emerald green is a very cool phthalo green. Here it is. And it should give an interesting result with our Burnt Sienna. Yes, immediately you see how it tones down the green. Look at this value in the middle, a beautiful muted green. I always use Burnt Sienna to tone down my green, to break them. It desaturates this vibrant color and it turns it into a dark, beautiful green. If you put on a, for instance, on a tree, these two greens, you get all the possible values and all the possible hues and shades of a fall foliage, from brown to muted brown and darker greens. Very lovely. And now let's see what happens with yellow ochre. I like very much yellow ochre from Rubens. It's a very vibrant, lovely color. It's not too opaque. Two earthy colors should give a lovely result. Yes, here also you get a warm reddish yellow, lovely combination. Look at this, very nice. It's not too different from the combination with Indian yellow. Okay, now I swatch the same thing with Rosa Gallery and I'll be back. Now, I hope the light is not a problem because it's late afternoon and there is some light straight from the window, but I think it's okay, you can see. What can I say? That I have this row of burnt siennas made with PBr7, and they're all very different one from the other. The one I like the least is the one by Paul Rubens. This is really dull. I love the Burnt Sienna by Daniel Smith, very pigmented, slightly reddish, it's very nice. And I also like this Brown Ochre by Winsor Newton. It's warm, light brown with a lot of color variation. The Lukas is very pigmented, but I don't mind the White Nights as well. It's a lovely Burnt Sienna, it's very warm. But it's incredible how different they can be one from the other. Then we have, in this row, we have the PR101. They're more granulating than the PBr7. And I like them all. I like them all. The one by Schminke has a touch of black in it. It's PBK9, actually. And it gives a dark undertone that can be nice, but these are more pure orangey, and I think I prefer these two types now that they're dry, the Winsor Newton or the Rosa Gallery. They're both very nice. Then the Go Theta, I'm not sure, by Daniel Smith shouldn't be in this collection, but the Spinell Brown, yes, it's a lovely light brown, very flat. It gives a flat wash, nice gradient. It's nice. And also the Red Ochre by White Night. It's a lovely earthy tone, and it can be compared with these two. I think it's a very lovely one. White Night is a great brand, great price point. So I think that my recommendation is to have one from this first collection and one from the second collection. So I'll make sure to always have a PBr7 Burnt Sienna in my palette and one made with the PR101 because they're all both worth having. The light is terrible, I hope you can see. Let's go to the mixes. The mixes with the Burnt Sienna are incredibly lovely. With Indian yellow you get almost a quinacridone gold hue, and it's more vibrant in this PR101 version, and you get a lovely peach when you mix it with madder red. This is a color I will not forget, for instance, for buildings or bricks or florals. Look at this. This is a sort of muted pink, really nice. This is the gray that you obtain. Maybe it's nicer if you mix it on your palette than on paper. You see more clearly the gray coming out. Here maybe I should put more blue, but it's a nice dark. But this blue was not strong enough and it leans towards brown. Next time I'll make sure I will put more blue to have a stronger gray, but you have a nice color separation and a nice dark. I apologize because I have ink on my fingers because I use a fountain pen when I write my notes for videos, so I always get some ink on my fingers. I'm an old school person and like to write down notes, handwrite them with a fountain pen. With these hookers, with this tree green, you get the lovely olive green with some pink undertone. Look at this. You have the color peeking through. I like it very much. And you have a lot of different ranges, ideal for foliage, for instance, in the fall. You have all the hues from brown to muted green. You can really mix lovely greens on a tree. With emerald green, you get a lovely dark also, and you have this darker green, which is more muted, but it's also slightly dull. I'm not sure I'm crazy about this mix. But I love very much the mix with yellow ochre. It's more subtle than the mix with Indian yellow. It's less vibrant, it's more muted, but it's a warm yellow, and for sand or landscapes or earth, soil, it's lovely. And I think this is a mixture that I already use. I like, in this case as well, more the version with the PR101. So although I like the PBr7 Burnt Sienna very much, I think that it mixes the PR101, the Rosa Gallery in this case, gives a more subtle, transparent, delicate result. Look at the difference. It's always I don't know, nicer to look at when you have the PR101, but it's worth trying. I don't know which one you have in your palette, but I would love the choice that you have made for your Burnt Sienna, which one you prefer, PBr7, or I have this fly all over. It's so hot here today, you can't imagine, it's horrible. But PBr7 or PR101, what are your favorite mixes? How do you use it? I'd love to know in the comments. So we have swatched our Burnt Siennas. We have mixed them. I'm waiting for your contributions to this collection. If you have any suggestion for other Burnt Siennas that I have not yet tried, please do let me know. I will be very happy to swatch them and review them for you. And let me know what you think about this video, and if you have liked it, do not hesitate to put a thumb up and subscribe to my channel for my next videos. Thanks a lot for having watched this video with me, and that's all for now. A big ciao from Italy. Ciao.